This video discusses how to write a resume. To state the bottom line up front, a successful resume highlights the skills you have developed in all of your experiences, including paid work, student activities and clubs, and sometimes classes. You need to write a resume specific to the job you are applying for. Let me note the proper format for a resume. You can find it on the VCU Career Services website. I strongly encourage you to use this format, not some template from Google Docs or that you found online. This is what employers are accustomed to seeing, and its simple format ensures that any algorithm used to screen your resume reads the entire document correctly. I'm not going to cover every detail here, but note that your experience should be divided into related and additional. You can and should include unpaid work and activities under related experiences. Sometimes they highlight skills better than your paid work. Your experiences should be sorted in chronological order, with the most recent listed first in each category. You want your most relevant experience at the top of your resume. Before you write your resume, you need to spend time thinking about what your short-term career goals are. What type of job are you looking for? Do you want a job that involves a lot of individual research, or one that involves collaboration and communication? Are you interested in American policy or international? You'll need to highlight different skills for different types of jobs, so the first step is to identify the types of jobs that you're interested in. As a side note, I often have students tell me they are interested in everything, or that they don't know what they want to do. This is normal, but unfortunately, if you want just any job, you're probably not going to get any job. Employers want to know that you have the skills they are looking for, and that you're interested in them, not just anyone. You have to start by making some choices about what your interests are and what types of work you're best at. You don't have to figure out your entire life right now, but you do need to be able to articulate your story, why you've made the choices you've made so far, and what you want the next step to be. The next step is to think through who is going to read your resume. You need to write to two audiences: the actual person who's going to make a decision about who to hire, and the potential algorithm that might screen resumes for them. Not everyone uses AI in hiring. It's most likely with large employers and websites like Indeed, but that process is very opaque, and it's good to be ready for it just in case. To get a sense of what employers are looking for, find job announcements in fields that you're interested in. These job announcements will say what the jobs require and what skills employers are interested in seeing in applicants. You should consider applying for internships and jobs where you meet most of the requirements. It's okay if you don't meet every criteria, though. Write your resume with those job requirements in mind. If the job involves managing logistics, make sure that one of your resume points talks about your experience managing a project or event. If the internship involves data analysis, include information on how you've done this in the past. My last note here is that the best way to manage AI algorithms is to use language similar to the terms listed in the job post. If the description says, exhibit excellent verbal and written communication skills, then have a line in your resume saying, demonstrated verbal and written communication skills, followed by a specific example of this. The final step in writing a resume is to think about what skills you have and how to describe them. My first key point here is that you develop skills in many ways. You learn research skills in classes that require papers. You learn communication skills when you give a presentation. You demonstrate organizational skills when you arrange an event for a club, and customer service skills when you work as a server in a restaurant. You demonstrate professionalism by showing a work record where you have had employers hire you more than one summer in a row, or that promote you from, say, server to host. So don't nag yourself. Don't be discouraged because you don't have a resume full of internships. Your hard work in all forms is extremely valuable, and employers want to hear about it. But you do need to tell them about it in the right way. What's important is that you provide specific details on what exactly you did in each case. Don't just say that you provided customer service. Try to quantify it. How many customers did you support each day? What type of writing did you do? Memos? Letters? How many people attended the event that you organized? Providing specific detail makes the information you write more credible to your audience. You also don't need to mention the same skills for every job. You can mention customer service for one server job and money management for another. This isn't a quiz on what your job responsibilities were. It's all about presenting yourself in the best light to a potential employer. My last thing to note is that it is okay that you don't have a lot of experience. You're in college, you're about to graduate. It's normal to have a short resume. Employers don't expect you to have a ton of experience. Highlight what you have, but also demonstrate your interest and commitment to a job in a cover letter. And please see my separate video on that. There is still a lot of time to develop skills in new areas. If you see an internship you're interested in, but don't meet most of the minimum qualifications, consider taking a class or joining a club that can help you do this. I'd like to end this video with a few do's and don'ts. Take your time on your resume. Write a draft, reread it, revise it. Have a friend read it and comment. Bring it to me or to Career Services to read. A good resume takes time and effort to prepare. Because a huge don't is having typos. If you have a typo or improper formatting on your resume, it is immediately obvious to everyone except you, and it tells the employer that you're not really good at paying attention to detail. This does really damage your application. Do have multiple versions of your resume. Different employers will be interested in different aspects of your experience. You don't need to include everything you've ever done each time. Personally, I have one really long version of my resume, and I edit that and send it out to different employers, depending on whether I'm applying for a research job or a teaching job. But don't send your long resume out to everyone. As college students, you really should not have a resume longer than 1 page. You just have not done enough to go onto a second page, and if you can't be concise about your experience, you will have a hard time getting a job that requires writing skills. Older students with more than 5 years of work experience may want to have a longer resume. Again, it's fine to have that once you have the life experience to justify it. Many students have goals or skills listed on their resume, and this is something I'd put in a maybe category. In general, I discourage these sections because they're repetitive. You should mention your goals in your cover letter. You should mention your skills in the descriptions of your experiences. So usually I recommend students just list computer and language skills in that section. But if your resume is a little short, it's okay to add a goal statement at the top. Just don't include really long lists. It's the quality of your skill development that employers are interested in, not the number of things that you write down. Do use formatting to highlight the most important things on your resume. Make it easy for somebody to read it by highlighting job titles and organizations. Don't have a resume so cluttered with text and columns, or play with the font to make things fit on 1 page. Complicated formatting makes it difficult for humans to see what's important on the page, and it is also known to mess up AI screening of your resume. The only time creative presentation or photos are appropriate are if they are directly relevant to the job. If you're applying for a job that requires graphic design skills, for example, you can demonstrate them on the resume yourself. Please don't save your resume with a file name like resume version 3-2.doc. Give it a name that makes it easier for the employer to use. Put your last name in the file so it doesn't get lost when saved onto somebody else's computer. Second, this goes without saying, but don't exaggerate on your resume. If you make it to an interview for a job, you may get asked about the information on your resume, and you don't want to get caught in a lie. Also, be cautious about adding old experience to your resume. Once you're in college, you should remove most of your high school experience. The only exception is when something from your high school or past is particularly relevant for what you're applying for. For example, if you're applying for an internship with a delegate's office and went to high school in their district, that's great to mention. But otherwise, you should usually cut it. Last, I just want to say that it is okay to have a personality on your resume. Don't express that with fancy formatting, but do mention your interests when appropriate. For example, if you're in the swim club or work at the student radio station, go ahead and talk about that. You never know when somebody shares your interests, and it can open fun lines of conversation in an interview. Your resume should highlight who you are, not hide it. I hope you found this video helpful in writing a resume. If you'd like further assistance, you can find sample resumes on the Career Services website, where you can also schedule a consultation. I'm also happy to talk with you. Please reach out via email. That's POLINTERN @vcu.edu.